Have you ever looked at the world and wondered if everything would just be better off if we weren't here? It is a dark, uncomfortable question. But when you look at the grand scale of reality, the case against human existence becomes shockingly profound. For thousands of years, we have operated under the assumption that humans are the pinnacle of creation, the ultimate purpose of this planet. But what if our presence is actually a cosmic misfire, a destructive anomaly that breaks the natural order? To truly understand why humanity might be a mistake, we have to look past our own egos. We must examine our impact on the planet, the fundamental nature of suffering, and our utter insignificance in a universe that does not even know we are here.
Let us start with the most obvious evidence of our destructive nature, the scars we leave on the Earth. No other species in the 4 billion-year history of this planet has systematically destroyed its own life support system. We call our dominance progress, but science tells a completely different story. We have entered the Anthropocene, a new geological epoch defined entirely by human destruction, where the natural rhythms of nature are shattered.
Before humans evolved, extinctions happened naturally over millions of years due to asteroid impacts or volcanic shifts. Today, species are vanishing at up to 10,000 times the natural background rate, entirely because of human activity. We have paved over the wilderness, filled the oceans with billions of tons of plastic, and choked the atmosphere with greenhouse gases. From the deepest ocean trenches to the highest peaks, our pollution leaves no corner untouched. But the true proof that we are an active detriment to Earth lies in what happens when we leave. Look at Chernobyl, a place abandoned by humans after a catastrophic nuclear disaster, which has now become a thriving sanctuary for wildlife. Without our constant hunting, concrete, and pollution, nature reclaimed the radioactive ruins in just a few decades. The Earth does not need our protection or stewardship. It simply needs us to get out of the way. If humanity vanished tomorrow, the planet would immediately begin a massive healing process. Within days, light pollution would disappear. Within months, air quality would skyrocket. And within centuries, our greatest cities would turn back into forests. But the environmental argument is only the surface. There is a deeper, more profound philosophical question to consider. Does human consciousness itself bring more pain than it is worth into the cosmos? Consider the philosophy of anti-natalism, which argues that coming into existence is always a serious harm. According to this view, the pleasures of life do not compensate for the guaranteed suffering that every single human must endure. Think about the asymmetry of pain and pleasure. Pain is intense, visceral, and can last for years, while pleasure is fleeting, temporary, and often requires immense effort to achieve. We are biologically wired to suffer more than we rejoice. By continuing to propagate our species, we are forcing new generations into a world where they will inevitably experience disease, grief, heartbreak, and eventually the terrifying certainty of death, all without their consent. We like to think of human history as a grand march toward enlightenment and peace, but a realistic look at our past reveals an endless, unbroken cycle of horrific violence, cruelty, and systemic oppression.
For thousands of years, humans have invented endlessly creative ways to inflict unimaginable pain upon one another. Wars, genocides, slavery, and torture are not exceptions to human behavior. They are defining features of our history. Even in our modern, civilized world, we've simply institutionalized our cruelty. We build weapons capable of vaporizing millions of lives in an instant, maintaining a fragile peace through the constant threat of total annihilation. We are a species plagued by an insatiable greed that overrides our capacity for long-term survival. We exploit our fellow humans, hoard resources, and create vast systems of inequality that leave millions to starve in the shadows of luxury. If an advanced alien civilization were to observe Earth, they would not see a noble, intelligent race. They would see a hyper-aggressive virus that consumes its host, destroys other life forms, and fights endlessly with itself. This brings us to the ultimate humbling truth of our reality, the concept of cosmic insignificance. We have built massive civilizations and written grand mythologies to convince ourselves that we matter, but the universe remains completely indifferent. Earth is nothing more than a pale blue dot, a tiny speck of dust suspended in a sunbeam, lost in a cosmic ocean that spans billions of light years. If humanity were to disappear completely, the cosmos wouldn't even notice. Stars would continue to ignite and explode, galaxies would crash into one another, and black holes would swallow entire solar systems. The universe has existed for over 13 billion years without us, and it will exist long after we are gone. Human existence is a mere blink of an eye on the cosmic calendar. If the history of the universe were compressed into a single year, humanity would only appear in the final few seconds of December 31st. And yet, in those few frantic seconds of cosmic time, we have managed to cause more localized destruction and suffering than any other event in our planet's recent history. Our short presence has been an absolute catastrophe. Imagine for a moment a universe entirely devoid of human consciousness. No wars fought over arbitrary borders, no industrial complexes poisoning the air, no innocent animals trapped in slaughterhouses. In this humanless universe, millions of species of animals would live out their lives according to the true laws of nature. They would experience pain and death, yes, but it would be a natural, balanced part of an intact ecosystem. The oceans would run completely clear. Whales would communicate across thousands of miles of silent, undisturbed water, free from the constant, deafening roar of massive container ships and industrial drilling. The atmosphere would stabilize. The greenhouse effect would slowly return to its natural equilibrium, healing the weather patterns and allowing the polar ice caps to refreeze into massive, permanent bastions of ice. Our concrete cities, once monuments to human ego, would slowly crumble and be reclaimed by the earth. Structures of steel and glass would collapse, becoming the foundations for new coral reefs and dense, vibrant jungles. This vision of a world without us reveals a harsh but undeniable truth. Humanity is not necessary for the beauty of this planet. In fact, our absence is the very condition required for that beauty to truly flourish. Many will argue that human existence is justified because of our capacity for love, art, music, and scientific discovery. They will say that we are the universe's way of thinking, feeling, and understanding itself. But we must ask ourselves, is a beautiful symphony or a brilliant scientific theory worth the price of millions of species driven to extinction? Is our self-indulgent culture worth the monumental mountain of suffering we have built? The universe does not need to be understood. Stars do not require our admiration to burn, and ecosystems do not need our science to function perfectly. Our desire to find meaning is purely our own burden, not a justification for our damage. When we look objectively at the sum total of our existence, the scales tip heavily toward the negative. We are a species that brings imbalance wherever we go, transforming a paradise into a fragile, breaking world. Perhaps the highest form of ecological and philosophical maturity is to accept this uncomfortable truth.
to realize that the greatest gift humanity could ever give to this beautiful planet and to the cosmos itself is our own absence. In the grand theater of time, we are but a brief, destructive storm. And like all storms, the most beautiful moment is the calm that follows, when the sky finally clears and the world can finally breathe again.